And did the writing come next?
Yeah, the writing came, I guess the real catharsis came when I started to write, because you start to write the stories. And I'd rediscovered, I'd always wanted to write, but I'd lost it somewhere along the way. So certainly I'm writing these stories.
And you're in your 30s before you start writing, right?
I'm 28. I didn't publish until I was 32.
Okay.
I was working in a factory, and I was working the doors, and I was telling all the guys the stories over the dinner table, and I was telling them about the good stories, the bad stories, the funny stories. And one of my friends, Steve, said, "You should write this down. This is great stuff." So I'd had a lot of practice in telling the stories. So I got some notepads from the stores. I was just hired there as a floor sweeper, and I would go into the toilet every day, and I would write. This is watch my back. I'd start writing all the stories, and that became my first book. But my world was so small then. I didn't know anybody that owned a typewriter. There was no computers at the time. I didn't, if you had a typewriter, he was posh, where we come from. I didn't know anybody who had a typewriter. Eventually, the guy who asked me to write the book, who suggested I write it, said, "Have you written it? Have you done anything?" I said, "Yeah, it's finished," but I said, "I don't know what to do with it. I don't know any more with a typewriter." And he said, "My sister's got a typewriter. She'll type it for you." So she typed it. So suddenly I've got a manuscript. Then I was just thinking, now what do I do? So success was calling me. It was saying, give us your blueprint. What is it that you want to do? So I wanted to publish this book. Okay, so how do I publish this book? So I had to start to learn, had to find out what publishers did, how publishers worked. I actually went to the local newspaper, and I said, I think I've written a book, but I don't really know. And she read it, and the first thing she said to me was, "There are 15 reporters upstairs. All of them want to write a book, and you've done it. So no matter how this reads, you're one step ahead of all of those professional writers." And she was really lovely, a guy called Sue Lowry. She was really lovely. It was a very kind thing to say, because I was a working class chip. I walked in there and I just thought, I've got no right to be writing a book. I'm getting above myself. But anyway, she encouraged me. She said there was a real voice there. I just needed to expand it. Then I discovered the Writers and Artists Yearbook. It was like all of these portals to different realities were opening up. The Writers and Artists Yearbook had got the name and address and phone number of every publisher in Britain. I just opened this portal that was never there before. This is what eschatology is. Eschatology says that, Christian eschatology, or any of the faiths, it says that everything is already there. It's already there. It's already available. You are not aware of it because there is dust in the way. There are obscurations blocking you from seeing what's already there. Everything is there in potential. So suddenly, this kid who's saying, "Well, how do I get published?" finds a book with a couple of thousand addresses and phone numbers of every publisher in the country. It was like an Aladdin's cave. So I started just sending the book out to different people. But along the way, I was building up my belief, because my belief was it's not possible for somebody like me to publish a book. I had no proof.
Right.
I had not even intellectual proof.
Right.
So I found the intellectual proof. I started to look at people and think, there's loads of these writers. Saturday Night and Sunday Morning was written about working class life by a working class writer. So I started to discover there were lots of people like me. So that was the first level of truth. I got intellectual proof that it's possible. But is it possible for me? Every time I tried to visualize myself publishing a book, I got all this interruption. You're not good enough. Don't get above yourself. Don't be a big head. Don't be pretentious. I had lots of inner dialogue. So I couldn't see myself publishing a book. But once I started to get a bit of confidence, people started to say, "What you've written is really good." And then a small publisher finally picked it up and said, "There's something here." And I published the book, and I had it in my hand. My belief went from understanding to knowledge to certainty. Certainty is Yakim is one of the 99 names of Allah in the Quran, and it's an attribute of God. It's actually a remedy. So when you get Yakim, certainty, you are actually cleaved to God. So it's not just like I'm certain of something. You actually get a small slice of the absolute. So I had certainty,
and that book in your hand.
I had the book in my hand. One bit of certainty transformed my life. I wrote another 5 books in the same year. I wrote a stage play. I thought if I can write a book, I can write 5 books. If I can write a book, I can write a stage play. Why not? If I can write a stage play, why can't I write a film? Why can't I get Ray Winston? If I can write a film, why can't I do a musical? You know, I just suddenly knew with no doubt that anything was possible. It was a certainty. It was so certain that it wasn't like I was certain, it was like I was certainty.